Hey guys, it's Charlie. It is August the 4th, Tuesday. And, okay, so we have all these congressmen coming back home to their districts, and they're just being hammered by constituents. You know, every time one of them has a town hall meeting, it's turning into a town hell meeting. I mean, they're getting yelled at, screamed at, and they're having to answer some tough questions. You know, and it's really uncomfortable for them. Too bad. And I see today that the media is automatically doing the exact same thing that they have done during the Tax Day Tea Parties and the Independence Day protests. You know, they're labeling everybody who's out there protesting or voicing their opinion as teabagging wackos. And, you know, I think the good news is that a big chunk of the population is starting to wake up to the trick that they're doing. You can't have a congressman come on television and say to the camera, yeah, these are plants by the Republican Party or by the conservatives. That's the only reason that all these people are coming out. And, you know, that might work. That might work when only the people who were awake last winter were going out to these tea parties because they saw the handwriting on the wall. They understood the Federal Reserve had just robbed the American people blind. But now we're getting in 8 months later, and people are starting to wake up. The sheep are starting to come awake and realize that, oh my God, you know, the stock market, the bankers are all making trillions of dollars. All this trillions of dollars is going to them so they can have record bonuses and record profits in the first and second quarter of this year, while unemployment is skyrocketing, while personal income is dropping, while the work week is being shortened. So people are waking up, and they're getting pissed, and they're showing it to their congressmen when they're holding these town hall meetings. I think it's absolutely hilarious that these arrogant, pompous, elitist congressmen who have somebody following around with a handkerchief to wipe their nose they're so arrogant that they're actually showing disdain at the peasants rising up and questioning them. You know, they're finding out that the mass majority of people in this country were asleep, but they're starting to wake up. And we're tired of the crap answers of, we don't have time to read a bill, things happen in a hurry. You know, people are asking, well, if they happen in a hurry, why isn't 1207 being voted on in a hurry? You know, they're not buying the same old tired, worn-out arguments or the same old tired, worn-out excuses coming from the president's press secretary of loaded panels showing up at these things. You know, it's okay for the president to come out after last tax day and talk about, oh, he didn't really realize what was going on. He turned on the TV and there was people waving tea bags around. All right. You know, that game will last so long. But when it's starting to affect the number of people that it's affecting, when they're starting to hear green shoots, recovery, stock markets rallying, but they look around them, they look at their neighbors, they look at the houses foreclosing in their neighborhood, they look at the value of their house and realize they're losing 5-6% a month. They're scared to death at their job that they can show up and have a pink slip. They're so scared that millions of them are willing to work for free, take pay cuts, just so they can have a continuous paycheck coming in. Credit card defaults higher than ever. Tax receipts, we haven't seen these numbers since 1932. So, you know, and we're just getting warmed up. Regional banks are starting to fail, over 60 of them this year, with a potential of hundreds more still in 2009. Now, the game's over, and people are waking up to it. So these congressmen coming home, and they're catching verbal grief now. You know, they're catching some of the anger that's happening at home. But they don't realize it because they spend most of their life in Washington, D.C., which is a completely different environment than the rest of us live in. We just get to pay for them to indulge in that environment. So, you know, despite the fact that the media has you labeled as a right-wing conservative wacko for going out and voicing your opinion and showing righteous indignation towards these pampered turncoats who are selling us out. You know, I know you're being called that on the nightly news. I know you're being called that on most talk radio shows. But I'm going to say thank you. Thank you for waking up. Thank you for having the guts to go out, for making the calls to the switchboard, for showing up at these town hall meetings and saying enough is enough. That's all I got.